doing it while you're talking. There we go.
Yeah, good. Yeah, cool. It's not picking me up though. It hasn't switched to me, has it?
It is on my side.
The camera didn't switch here. So I'm calling it kind of bullshit. Anyway, hi.
This is a good start.
Yeah, this is going well.
By mechanical issues.
It's gone well early. Hello, everyone. We are live. This is Australian Transformers Weekly, bringing you Transformers news from around the world. Principally this week, the other side of the planet, because I just got back from TFNation in Birmingham in the UK. We're going to talk about all of that shortly. We're also going to cover Transformers Cyberverse. There's a new trailer. We'll be taking a look at some images from that, some new Studio Series figures, and there's a new Lynx to rule the skies. And we're not talking about body spray. All that and more coming up after this.
God, that was terrible.
That was great. That was great.
That was shocking.
It's funny how opinions are so split down the middle. Okay.
I'll just go to the left.
All right, welcome to Australian Transformers Weekly. I'm Jason, back on the show after a few weeks away, including a big overseas jaunt that we're going to talk about shortly. Joining me tonight from his bunker in Western Sydney, we have Mikey Siciliano. How you doing, Mikey?
Yo, good. I have also been away for a while. Glad to be back. Haven't had the opportunity to come and hang with you guys for a while. So
you've been busy turning 21.
I did turn 21.
You know, it's all downhill from here, right?
Oh, I was downhill before, so you know.
every year from now on, you now turn 21 again.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just keeps getting worse. No, yeah, it was really good. Had a really good time, and yeah, looking forward to
30.
Yeah, 30. Yeah, well, funnily, you know what you say. Funnily, you say that. I turned 21 this year. Guess how old my sister turned only a couple of days ago.
30.
Joint party.
30. No, even though we're only separated. We're only separated by
birth.
I think 8. No, obviously yes. 8 days separates us in the month of August. But,
oh wow.
Yeah. So,
I got to ask a question, Mikey. When are your parents' birthdays? Is one of your parents' birthdays in November?
No.
Is it close to there?
It's November, December.
Yeah, so there we go. So like you get to your parents' birthdays and then 9 months later, you and your sister turn up.
Yeah. It seems like there's some celebrating going on there in early December. A little bit of
celebrating going on the birthdays.
That's a good image, Jason. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't get rid of it. Happy birthday.
Thanks.
The other voice you can hear is, of course, Brad Mull. How are you doing, Mr. Mull?
Oh, welcome back, guys. It's been a busy week, been an interesting week. Time to talk some Transformers again.
We can definitely talk Transformers. I have talked Transformers more this week than I think I have in a long time, and I host a podcast. Yeah,
that's it. It's one thing doing a supernova or something locally where you might have 20 fans come past and recognize that you're Transformers collectors and chat to you, where you went to a convention dedicated to the fine art of Transformers, and
I certainly did. Now, do you want to turn on my screen share? I have photos. I've got a show and tell. If you are listening to the audio version of the podcast, this is going to suck, and I suggest that you pull out your phone and go to YouTube and watch the videos / photos. But so TFNation is a convention that takes place in Birmingham. Sorry, Birmingham. Which is a brisk 2-hour train ride north of London, probably northwest of London, actually. And it takes place, it's one of those conventions that takes place in a hotel. And these are becoming sort of increasingly uncommon these days as conventions get larger and sort of move into dedicated function spaces. But TFNation took over from Auto Assembly a few years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
This is its third year running, and it's become pretty much the fans' most beloved convention of the year, because it's just a massive love-in of everyone who lives and breathes and loves Transformers. People come along, they come a long way. The guests come along and hang out in the hotel bar with you and other people come along and hang out in the bar with you as well. Everyone is super friendly, everyone's lovely, and yeah, I had an absolute blast. It was fantastic. So I've got some photos to show, right? Like, so I'm gonna sort of talk you through. I'm going to talk you through what my TFNation weekend experience was like. Now, I landed in London during a record heat wave, and I knew that I was going to have to get a train to Birmingham. So I positioned myself. I got a hotel not far away, like about it was a like 10-minute walk from the train station. And knowing that it was a record heat wave, I did not expect this. But,
that Vito van's about to go through a puddle. It's about to splash.
Yeah, there were so many people who got splashed at this intersection. Like you can see like the water is like a couple of centimeters deep.
Pooling, yeah.
So like London, epic heat wave, but also still ready to dump rain on you.
Yeah, just with that street sign, wait. What other phrases did it have? Was it?
That's actually it. So the wait sign is just for when people cross the road.
So that's pretty much just the red man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the red man. So
Red man.
Birmingham is very different to London. Like this is the same day in Birmingham. That's my that's the hotel I was staying in, and if this is on the opposite side of the lake from the Hilton where TFNation was at. I booked too late to actually get a room in the Hilton. I regret it, and next year I will be staying in the Hilton. But on the upside, I got lots of photos of ducks and swans and whatever wildlife is around the lake. Boys. So, hey, boys, burbs.
Well, yeah, you only booked late to go over. It was only the last 3 or 4 weeks before the event where you're planning.
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
So next year I will be booking much earlier and making sure that I actually get into the hotel.
Yeah.
So I arrived on Thursday. The TFNation ran from Friday to Sunday. I arrived on Thursday, as did a lot of other people, and so a bunch of us just all went out to dinner Thursday evening. And while we're at dinner, someone's just produced Jetfire and put him on the table. So we dutifully fed him a milkshake. Now this Jetfire is significant because he has been re-whitened.
I can tell.
Now. So this is via some of the chemical process that comes up for discussion every few months in the group. It's sort of a combination of bleach and some other chemicals, and the results are pretty stunning. Like he looks fantastic. Now he may re-yellow in the future, but for now, anyway, yeah, that is a G1 Jetfire. It looks fantastic. So after dinner, we went back to the hotel, and there was one of the guys there had an Infinity War gauntlet knitted.
Wow.
I think I've missed a photo there. Yeah, we go. So one of the guys has taken the Thrilling 30 figures that we used to find packed in at the reject shop, and he created casts of them and made them as candles.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
So he made the perfect ones up the back. These are Cindersaur.
Yep.
G1 Cindersaur. He also did some Doctor Who figures. There's some Daleks there and a TARDIS. He did a Death Star, which worked really well.
There's a Death Star there too.
You see these little Megatrons up the front and Seekers and everything. These are fantastic. So I dutifully took the Daleks away to take some photos and stuff.
You can't light them. You can't light them on fire.
No. Well, you can, because these ones he said are actually made from the Ice Cube tray.
Oh,
so
okay.
You can buy Ice Cube Daleks. These are made from the Ice Cube Daleks. Fantastic.
Are they scented? Because it's just
yes. No, so they are slightly scented, but he said they're not very scented. He's going to change that for next year. Yeah. So as said, I got myself an Infinity Gauntlet. If I snap my fingers,
that shirt. What is that shirt?
The shirt is totally appropriate for a Transformers convention as well. But so with this shot, if I snap my fingers, everyone turned into extras from Little Big Planet.
I get that reference now because we just watched the movie last week.
Yeah, there you go. So this is the weirdest breakup note I've ever gotten. To whom it may concern, I'm breaking up with you. It's not you, it's me. Signed, anonymous. This was just sitting in the Hilton bar, and I think it was actually the Hilton staff having a bit of a joke. They just sort of left a note on the table. All the tables had these little funny notes on them, so this was one of them. We spent Thursday night playing a card game called Unstable Unicorns, which I have since gone out and purchased and started playing with people at work. It was so much fun. This is the Friday morning at badge pickup and merchandise pickup. The merchandise table is in front of me, and this is the TFNation program. So it was a G2 theme this year, hence all the bright colors. And TFNation has their own little mascot. I can't remember her name, but that's her on the front of the book. So they made sure that she was done up G2 style this year. And you can see on my wrist there is a Stan Bush concert ticket, still shiny and fresh because I hadn't put my hand in my pocket yet at this time. But yeah, Stan Bush played a concert on Saturday night, and it was super fun. So we had a lot. There was a lot of people hanging out in the bar with Transformers. So you will notice that is one of the G1 cassettes that came out at SDCC, and that is the Dinobot Slash. And we needed just an extra Dinobot to do this Jurassic World recreation, but I think we got there.
I got it straight away, so it was good.
Yeah. Anyone who follows Becca Tane Kerr on Twitter will recognize this pipes. This is possibly the most famous pipes on the face of the planet, and I had the privilege of having breakfast with him. So this is the pipes that is the Beta Wii Megatron's love interest. and so Pipes and Megatron were both at the convention. I got a selfie with Megatron as well. So yeah, it was lovely. It was lovely, and it was lovely hanging out and meeting Becca as well. Now, I was quite surprised to see this figure because we haven't talked about this guy, but this is the MFT Huge Dragon. He is yet another Omega Supreme because we've seen a lot of them this year, haven't we? But if you look carefully, this guy is actually the size of a Voyager figure, but he's Omega Supreme. And that Ultra Magnus sitting in front of him is actually the world's smallest Ultra Magnus. So that gives you look. The beer glass should give you an indication of how big this figure isn't. So yeah, no, this is fantastic. I am looking to acquire this guy and add him to my collection now. He's really good.
I looked for news for this today, so we could talk about tonight, but couldn't find any. So
yeah, they're all sold
next couple of weeks.
They're all sold out on Toybot Imports. So look, it's no secret I love Transformers Animated. On the way there, I managed to pick up, and I try not to use this term, but this I think actually does count as something. I don't know. No, I'm not going to say it. Like, I don't want to say it's a grail item because I've acquired it fairly easily. But the animated Elite Guard Optimus Prime is quite rare. He was a mail away exclusive in the US, in the US and Japan, and I managed to pick him up from Singapore on the way over. So he counts as a TFNation purchase. And once I got him out and put him on the table, a few other people came over and added some more animated figures to pose with him. So we had a nice little animated love-in. And there's a bit of a close-up on Prime's face there. And Prime with a Sharkticon.
Well, considering you had to fly to Singapore to get it.
Like it wasn't straightforward. And this is
who doesn't like jalapenos?
I don't like jalapenos.
Okay.
So Prime decided to put the heat out with the water cannon. So yeah, but we did better with churros.
Yep.
And while we're at churros, so I got to handle this toy for the first time. This is the Classics Megatron. Now I believe this is actually the Takara version of him because he's actually non-space gun colors, and I didn't actually realize until I got this guy in my hand, but he has no right hand.
No,
he's right-handed as a gun. But yeah,
no, he does have a right hand.
No, there's no right hand there.
I've seen this figure. I think it must just be transformed wrong.
I've got the Hasbro version. I can't recall.
I'm 100% sure he does.
But like, you can very clearly see that where a fist would be, there's a hinge for the gun.
Yeah. But I think the arm's backwards or something.
What's in that? What's under that red panel? Does that come up or anything?
Don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyway.
Okay. Anyway.
So this is the main panel room. So lovely get up with lots of bright lights, big screen, and good TFNation paraphernalia. This I know, right? This is one of my mates. The things he brought along is a plush Grimlock. He's fantastic. So, yeah, very cute. And there was a lonely Jeffrey.
I've got those stores. I'm just going to roam the space.
Well, Toys R Us closed months ago in the UK. So, no. Jeffrey, poor Jeffrey was just walking around a bit aimless. I gave him the hashtag of giraffe for hire. Now, one of the good things, so TFNation is a really, really friendly, really social convention. And if you put your Twitter name on your badge, then people who walk past you are like, oh my God, you're JM77. Things like that. So, it was one of Becca's ideas to put name tags on everyone, and she did very well. She brought all these tags along, and I wore mine all weekend. That was good fun.
Yeah, I just found Megatron does have a right hand.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. Now, this is one that I think you're going to be very interested in, Brad.
I left it out of news because I didn't think anyone wanted to talk about it.
Depends whether or not this is the same thing. I did see someone report on this from TFNation, and I had a long chat with this guy about it. Now, this is a 3D printed Megatron statue. Is this the news item that you left out?
No.
Right. So this is really cool, right? So this guy has been 3D printed from scratch. Now, the guy who runs this, he's aiming to sell the 3D models. So you could purchase the 3D model for like $20 or $30 or $40, and then it's on you to print it and make sure that you print it at the right in the right material at the right size and resolution. But what he's done, he's spent a lot of time modeling the figures, and so he's come up with this Megatron 3D model. Now, I feel like when I was talking to the guy, he was like, "Yeah, I've already done the model." I'm like, "No, hold on, that's the hard part. Like designing a character like this is the hard part, and then making sure that it all like works and hangs together and hinges together. That's a stunning job that he's done, and he's actually sitting on a turntable, and so you can buy the models for these figures, and if you look in the background, you'll see that what he's done is he's taken his 3D model and he's done some artwork around it and turned it into a print. So
wow.
he's using his own Megatron design to come up with an artwork print that he can sell at conventions. And if you like the figure so much, you can actually download it and print the figure. Now, he had Megatron on his stand. He had Starscream, and I think he had Prime, and I think there's a Soundwave that he's got as well. And so we're always bitching about the price of statues, right? Here is a solution. You get a figure that is about the same size as those statues, and once you put some paint on these guys, like, it's pretty amazing. So yeah,
and the detail there as well is just fantastic.
I know, right? And so all of these are printed from like individual pieces that come out of the 3D printer, just like anything else. So yeah, they're fantastic. I was super impressed with him. We'll put a link to him in the show notes. He's called SNS, I think. But yeah. So moving on from there's the Optimus Prime too.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I met one of our groups overseas correspondents. This is James Lenigan. He managed to find his way down from, I think he's in Ireland now. He's moved back to Ireland. So it was lovely to catch up with him, and a big hello to James if you are listening. And back to the bar. He started goofing around a little bit with some figures. I think I tweeted this one with a picture of the creature from the Blue Lagoon. The Black Lagoon. And the Blue Lagoon's a very different thing. So this was the Mega Action Megatron. He's huge. He had a seat all to himself, and he was not impressed when we forgot to feed him. Now, so this is one of my acquisitions. This is Generations Roadbuster, and I got to say, I'm really quite taken aback that someone gave this guy to me, and it really does go to show that the whole theory of pay it forward works, because I brought a Transformer over from Australia to give someone else, and literally 5 minutes later, someone gave me this. Nice. So definitely go pay it forward. Generations Roadbuster. There is Power of the Prime's Abominus, looking really good. I think the general consensus was that this guy is one of the better looking generations combiners that has existed. I think the hands and the feet really help the combined form in this case. And you can see my generations robuster off on the side as well. But the combined form of him looks fantastic. Also got to see one of the Grimlock hoodies in person. Does make me want to go and buy one. Is the forthcoming Mega Action Soundwave, who does come now. This might be the first time a third party has actually been able to produce a transforming licensed figure. That Laserbeak transforms.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah,
let's make sure to buy it.
There's been a bit of chatter about that being a transforming third party figure that's been licensed. So
yeah, that's exactly my point. Yeah. So there's another shot of the 3D printed figure stand. You can see the painted Starscream up the back.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I know, right? Pretty nice. You can see there. Sorry, it's SNC Digital Sculptor. Like I said, we'll put a link to him in the show notes.
Sorry, Jason. Unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to cut it off here. I was expecting this was going to start a little bit earlier, but unfortunately, it's no one's fault. But we just had some technical difficulties today.
Okay, all right. So Brad and I'll keep going.
Yeah, sorry, really sorry about that, guys. But I've got to be up a little bit early tomorrow. So
yeah, it's all right. That's all right. We'll just edit this bit out.
Anyway, I'm gonna be definitely watching this episode because I'm really intrigued by all of your TFNation stuff. But sorry, I just won't be able to make the rest of this episode.
No, it's too easy, Maggie.
Thank you so much. I'll catch up with you guys next week.
All right.
Yep.
Bye.
No worries.
Bye.
See you, man.
Ta-da.
So the Starscream's going to be the first one released, or is just
he's just the one that happens to have had paint applied to him, and so you can also see his print based on his model sitting behind him as well. So yeah, you can also see I think there's a Jazz behind Prime there as well, and on screen you can see Soundwave as well.
Yeah, even the bases, like even just the detail in the bases is fantastic as well.
Yeah, they're really nice. So other stuff now. We've talked about this guy a few times in the last couple of months. Now this is the tiny Bumblebee.
Baby bee.
Yes, right. I was wondering whether or not you froze. So this guy is actually really good. He's got a really quite ingenious transformation. He's got a fairly full range of movement. And yeah, he's just this tiny cute little Bumblebee. And he's also available as Goldbug as well.
Yeah, this is the one that's actually got a backpack, isn't it? I've got the
There's a little bit of a backpack, but not much.
Yeah, I got the one that came out before this. It's got nothing at the back. It's just a hollow shell. I really want to get rid of that and get this one.
Speaking of impressive releases, whatever people are saying about Power of the Prime's Predaking, holy shit! Look at that. That is one seriously impressive combined mode. So impressed and looking forward to adding this guy to my collection. He was on sale there, but I couldn't figure out a way to get him home.
I wonder how many people brought the Takara Devastator just so that it could have elbow joints in that, and it's never been out of Devastator mode.
Yeah, exactly.
People complaining about individual bots.
So in the dealer's room, someone was selling James Roberts' old toys. That was quite amusing. The dealer room was amazing. There were tables upon tables upon tables of stuff. I don't know if I actually put a photo of it into the presentation, unfortunately, but it was very cool. That is DC Douglas from Transformers Rescue Bots and Resident Evil having a bit of a chat, a bit of an interview on stage about his career and what he does. I got to say, so DC Douglas was a workhorse all weekend. He did a panel on Friday night. He did this panel on Saturday afternoon. He led a script reading with some of the other voice actors on Saturday night, and he was there in the bar chatting to people outside of those times. He was amazing and just an utter gentleman. He was fantastic to have a chat to as well. So yeah, just as like this is the kind of thing that you find at TFNation. Like people are going to bring in voice actors and interview them on stage, and perform panels, and people you can just ask them questions in the panel if you want, and if you're a bit embarrassed, you can ask them a question at the bar afterwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's another one of DC. This is a typical photograph of the Hilton. The Hilton Lounge and in the foyer of the hotel during TFNation. There's just people with Transformers everywhere. This year there was actually a salsa convention booked at the same time, so we had a split in the bar of salsa dancing people and Transformers people. Also, just oddly enough, a few odd crossovers because. Turns out some of the salsa group were ardent Transformers fans and could not believe when they saw a sign that said Stan Bush was going to be performing a concert at the hotel.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was super fun. As I mentioned, we had Becca there with Megatron and pipes there. So there's Mega Action Megatron, which was a new addition to her collection at the show. And as you can see, MP Megatron is perhaps not exactly impressed at the new edition. He might have been a little bit distressed, the poor thing. Someone brought along a Matrix, so of course I lit everyone's darkest hour in the bar with it. And a couple of spark heaters decided to make their way through the hotel lobby at one point as well, which is a bit of a concern for the person that they were accosting. This is a behind shot of Power of the Prime's Optimus Prime, showing some poorly disguised legs and hands from Orion Pax. And in terms of figures that don't get much love, this is Energon Inferno. I picked him up and had a bit of a look at him. He's a pretty neat figure. I was impressed. There's another shot of Abominus, and you notice there in this shot there's a Power Core Optimus Prime from Combinables. Those have become quite rare now. So yeah, it's interesting to see one just sitting out at the bar. Now this is the setup that we had on Saturday night, just before the cosplay competition began, and so you can sort of see off in the distance over there, there's a bunch of people behind a banner with a lot of cosplay paraphernalia going on. So we're gonna take you through some of the excellent cosplay that hit at TFNation. This is a human form Skywarp.
Yep.
He failed to teleport in and out of the cosplay arena, instead having to use his legs.
Worst cosplay ever. Can't teleport.
He was fantastic, and he was a kid. He was a kid playing what is the name? Strongarm from Robots in Disguise, and this is someone playing Vortex, the Combaticon, and like this was such a good job. She'd been posting on Twitter for weeks beforehand that she was concerned she wasn't going to finish the costume in time, but damn, she finished it in time and it looked amazing. So yeah, it was really good. The Functionist Council from More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light made an appearance, and they may have recalled some people during the presentation. There's
a blip swing.
Actually, no, that's Fulcrum from Lost Light and More Than Meets the Eye, one of the members of the Scavengers, and you can see Perceptor just there next to her.
Yeah.
And now this is Dominus Ambus. Now, if you were to read Lost Light, which I know you don't, then you would recognize the replacement of the bot's head with a screen that just displays messages from the Functionist Council is a central part of Lost Light's plot. And the person who was wearing this costume had a Wii controller and a keyboard, so they could actually change the message that was on the screen.
I imagine their entire view of the world is through those two little holes at the front of that box.
That is correct.
Wow.
A lot of the cosplayers did not have a lot of visibility.
Yeah, but that's just fantastic.
Yeah, that was
weight.
Super impressive. And yeah, the weight of actually having a screen in front of your face as well.
Yeah.
It was impressive dedication. It was very well done. Yeah. So there's a Cosmos.
Oh wow.
Now this guy's an Aussie. So this is a Rodimus from More Than Meets the Eye, or actually Rodimus from Lost Light, given the purple and blue color scheme. And then he performed a costume change in front of everyone and turned to red and yellow flames Rodimus. Very, very well done. He didn't tell any of us that he was going to do this. So essentially, he's made his costume twice. So well done. Now, this guy was one of the. I think he was second place with his Black Convoy / Scourge, as we probably know him. Now, this guy was notable for what happened once he realized that the music was playing. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Scourge has got the moves and is not afraid to use them. There's even a bit of a hip wiggle going on there as well.
Dance
off.
off.
Yeah. Dance off, bro. So yeah, well done. And that also, the detail on that costume is astonishing.
Yeah, I'd imagine that'd have to be a local, just to have that thing shipped from anywhere else.
A lot of people came along with a car full of cosplay costume.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Again, something else you don't see here, especially sort of side characters like that.
Yeah, the dedication is amazing. So there's a video of Cosmos getting up and so basically what they would do is they'd call them out and they'd come along and pretend they'd do a bit of a pirouette, and some of the cosplayers found it a little bit difficult because they could not see a thing in their costumes.
Yeah.
The dedication is just amazing. It was so well done. So this is a poor photo, sorry, but there was a Bumblebee, the movie Bumblebee, ready to go as well. That is the upcoming Bumblebee there. And this is an amazing Tarantulas, a human form Tarantulas. Tarantulas is, of course, the bad guy in Sins of the Wreckers, and also a known character anyway. And there was a couple these guys seem to be a couple, or they just realized it was beneficial for them to hang out together. There's Farmer and there's Tarn. Now, Tarn was actually the winner of the cosplay competition as well, because
wow,
the suit is just so detailed. And there's basically, so there's everyone getting up for sort of like a bit of a group shot afterwards. And so you can see a couple of other figures in there as well that I didn't quite get some photos of. But everyone, the cosplay was just amazing. It was just astonishing. There's a more detailed shot of Tarn from the sales floor the following day. And in fact, if you look really closely here, you can just see bits of a rung behind as well. But also just look at the detail on that. Look at the detail on that Tarn costume as well, right? Like that's just it's just astonishing how good a job this was. There's even lights in there, so like they even went to the trouble of getting lights into it to light up. So fantastic, well done. Now, so this was just as the judges were about to announce the results. They got up on stage and they said, "Look, it's been really hard judging because everyone's cosplay is so good. The standard of cosplay every year gets just better and better," which prompted one of the cosplayers over on the side to just yell out, "Sorry." So fantastic. Now these guys won. This is a More Than Meets the Eye style Rodimus and Ultra Magnus as a human form couple. The guy playing Ultra Magnus did not break that expression the entire time. He was fantastic. And the female form Rodimus was running around and prancing and posing all the time. And Ultra Magnus was just dead on straight to the cameras. Fantastic, and a well-deserved win from these guys. It was great. So after the cosplay competition, they shuffled us out of the room and then they prepared for something else that happened later on, which we'll get to, and a few of us just horsed around in the bar with combiners. So this is actually the oversized Combiner Wars Superior. I think it's one of the Wei Jiang ones, and it turns out it can ride someone's shoulders just quite happily. After that, they let us back into the room for the Stan Bush concert. Now, as the TFNation guys will tell you, they have no idea how to put on a concert. So they put their heads together and they worked out the best they could, and their best was more than good enough. So Stan Bush was introduced. That's not him. He was introduced by Nick Roche of the Wreckers comics, who got up on stage and delivered the immortal line. I would have waited an eternity for this. Everyone, Stan Bush. Great job from Nick doing the intro. And there's a couple of shots from the concert of people dancing and clapping and everything. Yeah, it was just a fantastic time. There's the man himself, Stan Bush. Now, it is notable, Stan Bush is in his 60s. He's still coming out and rocking a room like this. So he played a bunch of songs off some of his newer albums and some other work, and then he got stuck into the Transformers stuff. He played Dare and then played The Touch at the end of the concert. And when everyone forced him to come back out for his encore, he played Dare again, which technically I think means that Dare is the better song.
Oh, I agree with that.
I think so. This is the thing; it's not a controversial opinion. Everyone agrees.
Okay.
This is stupid, sexy Galvatron. I spotted this one in the dealer's room the following morning. Yep, and
so you don't look at this Revenge of the Fallen box. Look at me. I'm doing one.
While I was hanging around, one of the Functionist Council caught up with me, as you can see. Bit of a problem, and yeah, oops, that's a bit of a problem as well. And yeah, I got recalled. Actually, I just realized that's not me getting recalled, but it's close. So this was also in the Forge on display. This is the oversized MP10.
Chrome.
Yeah, he is huge. He's about the size of the Mega Action figures.
Wow.
Chrome finish and everything. It's just, yeah, fantastic. This is a custom that I thought was especially impressive. It's obviously animated Bulkhead, but they've done him as 10 from Lost Light. And so, yeah, like if you are looking to create your own, what's 10's? He's one of the enforcers of the Tyrest Accord, one of Tyrest's minions. Are they an adjudicator? I'm not sure. But yeah, no. So very, very well done. Great job updating him with some brighter colors and making it quite interesting. Also giving him a custom jawline. As I mentioned, we had rock stars there in Megatron and Pipes, and I got to play with something. So I think this legitimately does actually count as something that I would call a grail, because I've been looking for this on eBay for ages. This is a vintage cassette, man. This is what Soundwave was before he was Soundwave. Obviously, someone stuck a Decepticon logo on him, but very, very, very impressive to find this just hanging out in the bar at TFNation. Like, if you're interested in a particular aspect of Transformers toys, there's going to be someone else there who is. This particular Soundwave, I think, was owned by a YouTuber called Soundwave SG1, and he was just as stoked as me to find it because someone gifted it to him on the night. So,
now, if you take that into Pawn Stars, is that Decepticon logo going to appreciate the value or make it depress?
No, I think if you take the Pawn Stars, you might take the Decepticon logo off beforehand. Yeah. Yeah, another shot of Pipes. Pipes is internet famous, so why not? There was a Cyclonus and Tailgate cosplay. They were fantastic as well.
Nice.
And this is one of my acquisitions, which we will get to later in the show. But I managed to find a. It's not quite G1 because it was released around 2000, 2001 as a part of Transformers Car Robots. But this is a Takara repaint of the Combaticons into Baldigus, and I saw this sitting. It was it's loose in a bag, but it came with instructions, came with bio cards, and came with all weapons. It was complete. So got myself a Baldigus combiner. There's Prime and Roadbuster again, and there's the combined Baldigus. And doesn't that look gorgeous? Like maybe it's just me, but like I would take this over normal Combaticons any day.
The color does look a lot better.
Yeah, the color is amazing. So yeah, no, super impressed with him. And there's a bit of a group shot of some of my acquisitions as well. There's BotCon Air Razor, who's a repaint of the Windblade and Slipstream mold. And I got a couple of eHobby releases as well. And it's just a group shot of red bots that we put together at the time. There it is, Nick Roche giving his giving his panel on his time in the comics industry and some secrets of the Wreckers comics. And here's one of the final panels with Jack Lawrence Jack Lawrence, one of the artists, or the main artist for Transformers Lost Light, in the middle. Chris McFeely, Transformers historian, on the left, and James Roberts, author of Lost Light, talking on the right. Now, during this panel, they revealed that yes, Lost Light we know is ending with issue 25. It's 3 issues from now, and it is cut short. They did want to run Lost Light to about 43 issues, but they've had to compress it down because IDW is ending its Transformers universe with the arrival of Unicron, which has been happening over the last few months. So one of the final panels. Let it also be known. So I purchased. I was just
going to say before you go, and I hope someone yelled out at one point, "Hey, Cyclone is down in front."
Yeah. Not so much, but yeah. So this is also just got released, and Nick Roche was kind enough to sign it for me. It's the collected editions of Last Stand of the Wreckers, Sins of the Wreckers, and Requiem of the Wreckers. And this was notable because it was large enough to cause a problem at airport security. They saw it in my bag and they were not sure what it was, but it did stop them scanning the rest of my bag's contents, so they had me take it out. Yeah. So before we move on to actual Transformers news of the week, here are a couple of photos of my Transformers haul. So we've talked about the figures up the back there. There's a nice... So TFNation has the dealer room for official merchandise, and they have this area called the Forge for makers and people who want to come along and be creative and sell sort of related merchandise. And so the bag on the left, the Robots in Disguise, this came from the Forge. Someone made that. They stitched in the Optimus Prime and Megatron themselves. There's a TFNation t-shirt, the G2 bright pink themed tote bag. And now, you must remember the kids' books, the Ladybird books, right, Brad?
Yeah.
So they had the author of a lot of the Ladybird books at TFNation this year, and so they produced their own.
Wow.
And so if you look down there, we've got the Decepticons Time Terror. And yeah, that was fantastic. It's a nice little homage to the Ladybird books. So yeah, that was fantastic. It's actually one of the most sought after pieces of merchandise from the show. I got a couple of E-Hobby figures as well, because my thing at the moment is collecting E-Hobby. There is a Magnificus and Twincast in those boxes as well. And there's a bear that I'm not sure if the bear raises money for charity or not, but it's still cool. There's a bit more of a better organized shot of some of the merchandise. There's the program there, a Stanbush poster, concert ticket, better look at the Ladybug book, and mug and water bottle. Some more shots of the bots there, and this one I find really interesting. This is just a bit of an indication of what people do and what people bring with them to the con, right? So this set of postcards here, this set of postcards here, these 5, these were being sold these were all produced by someone. They were sold for £5, and the £5 went straight to a domestic violence group, a group dedicated to help victims of domestic violence. So, how can you not purchase the postcards at that point? Also, they're fantastic photographs. I quite appreciated the work that had gone into the Reflector Rhapsody, so I purchased that card. Graham Thompson, with his Collecting Stories blog, was giving out these postcards with different Transformers on them in the classics box style. And where's my thing to drag over here? Kevin Gorman has done a lot of comic cover recreation. So he takes the original comic cover and he recreates the poses and the look and the effects with Masterpiece figures and Photoshop. And he's put together all of his comic cover recreations into his book called Trapped in Polyhex. And so that was fantastic. So it's great to see all that. I won the Hayato Sakamoto sketchbook in a raffle. And because I do like the UK Transformers comics, I spotted this one on one of the stands. So £1 for a fairly low number comic. It was number 23. Now, they didn't come out to Australia until around issue 80 or so.
Skywalk pinup. Ooh la la.
Yes, the Skywalk pinup, absolutely. Although I think that's the thing that's missing from the center page.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Someone took the poster out and sold the book.
Yeah. And so there was another guy along who came along, and he's created his own comic called Britformers as well, like British Secret Service and spy games and a bunch of fanzines as well. So it was fantastic. It was very much appreciated and lots of fun. There's a couple of more prints from Nick Roche, some badges, some pins, and people who are fans of the comics will probably appreciate this one as well. So this is a recreation of a Marvel comic cover, which was Transformers number 5, which showed Shockwave under the Transformers banner saying the Transformers are all dead. But of course, Tan thinks everyone's guilty. So yeah, it's fantastic. And that, I think, is it. There's a close up on some of the prints as well there. This one, I liked this because obviously it's after Starscream's been gunned down by Galvatron, or it's after Thanos snapped his fingers.
I was going to say, not in Megatron. I feel strange.
Yeah, so it could go either way, and I thought that ambiguity worked really well into it. Yeah, there's a close up of the "Are All Guilty" poster, and this I appreciate very much. There's a guy on Twitter who didn't get to come along to the convention for very long. His alias is James. He draws, and he created this. He created this artwork of. Oh my god, I can't actually think the name of the Pretender, but this is fantastic artwork. And he came along and he found me and gave me a copy of his print, and it's fantastic. I'm really touched. So it's great. A couple of selfies to finish off. Mikey was telling us beforehand that he would really be looking forward if we go along next year to meeting Few. Already met him. We are Pokemon trainer buddies, and also he's a fantastic bloke, and he can put away the beer way more than I can. But yeah, no, really appreciated meeting him. This is Billy Stripes, one of the organisers of TFNation. And here is Soundwave SG1. There is Jack Lawrence, the artist of Lost Light, and there is James Roberts, the writer of Lost Light. There's DC Douglas, the voice of Chase, and also the voice of Albert Wesker in Resident Evil. And there is Nick Roche, author and artist for the Wreckers novels. And there is the man himself, Mr. Stan Bush. I think I was one of the people to approach him in the bar and ask for a selfie, and he very graciously agreed to let me have a selfie, and then about 200 other people for the rest. I was
going to say, get in there early, because by the time he gets to 200, it's going to be the smile's going to depress.
No, you know what? I looked over an hour later, and he was still smiling, and just he was just so happy to be there. And yeah, we certainly appreciated it. The concert was great. TFNation was great. And all the attendees are great. The dealers were great. All the organisers more than happy to just sit down and have a chat with you at the bar. It's such a social and friendly environment, and I'm totally going to go again next year. So I have taken way too long out of the podcast to talk about my TFNation experience. I am really sorry.
That's fine.
Shall we talk a little bit about some news?
Yeah, but as I said during your spiel there, it's like it's nothing like any convention here. Any convention here is more of a plethora of everything. They try and get everything of different pop cultures in, where you go to an event where it's solely Transformers. And like as you said, like there's been the wide range from cosplay to panels to artists from the comics. Stan Bush being a big part of the franchise for the last 40 years. It's just and the toys as well. Like a lot of stuff there. Mega Action Series, Megatron.
Fun.
Yeah,
toys, right?
Some figures there that haven't even come out in retail here yet. You get to play with, get to see firsthand. Like
Absolutely.
we report on this stuff the week after, and sometimes weeks after it's announced or shown at conventions, and it might be 6-7 a year later before we actually get to play with the figures or see the figures with our own eyes. But no, it's good. It's good. And Megatron's still upset. You're muted. I can't hear you. What's happening?
Yes, that Megatron was very, very serious. We pulled him aside and we're like, Megatron, why so serious?
we're all having fun. Don't be the party pooper.
Exactly. But yeah. So yeah, look, we all had lots of fun. We all photographed each other's toys. You can see in the background there's an Optimal Optimus. It was great. Is
that the Studio Series Jazz, or is that?
Yes, it is. In fact,
yeah. So again, another figure that we haven't got here yet.
Yeah. Oh, he's on his way.
Yeah.
So yeah, just lots and lots of fun. Really, really enjoyed myself. Looking forward to going next year. Cannot wait to go again next year. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Now, having done that, shall we talk about some Transformers news?
we do have a couple of news stories we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we have the rest of a podcast to go. We might blow through some of these stories fairly quickly now.
Yeah.
Look, first up is of course the Bot Shots winner for this week. Congratulations to Risa Rangio. Now, I've done a new spiel for this. So Bot Shots Weekly is the weekly. Well, there we go. It's called weekly. It's the weekly TCCA Facebook photography competition where it encourages you to get your bots out of their cabinets and into the great big wide world outside for some photos. There are weekly winners going to monthly draw for a prize. Monthly winners going to a half year. So a hat. Read that out of the corner of my eye. They go into a hat for a yearly prize. You can find the full terms and conditions on our website. That's at transformerscca.com. Risa Rangio took his Dinobots out into the garden this week for a nibble on some kale that he has growing. I got to say, as you can see in my comment there, the boys have changed since moving to California. Dinobots never used to be into kale. Now they just can't get enough of it. They're putting kale in everything. So pretty soon there'll be kale energon.
It's all about keeping that gold finish.
Yeah, very, very true. So congratulations to Reese for that. Now, we also saw just today a new trailer for the upcoming Transformers Cyberverse cartoon dropped from Cartoon Network across all good video streaming services. Now, we don't really like to play videos for these things, but we do have a couple of screen grabs to talk through. Now, have you watched the video, Brad?
I have. I watched it this afternoon.
So I was really impressed at the quality of the animation. Like everything moves. It's not a case of like a character standing still and their arms moving. Like the characters will, they'll fully lean in and talk to each other, and the faces are very animated. It's a completely different cast than we've had before for Transformers, but I like it. I'm happy for new people to come up and have a go, but just I'm really taken by the quality of the animation and the design on offer. I feel like the design is going to split people down the middle, sort of like Animated did, and I can definitely see a bunch of Animated qualities in the figure design, which is probably why I like it. But yeah, it's fantastic. The cameras pan around characters. There's obviously a standoff there between Optimus Prime and Megatron, and I really appreciate the detail that goes into some of the backgrounds and the environments as well. Like you can see there the laser beams firing from some of the Transformers that are flying past the platform on display here as well. And like I've just found that works really well. It's done really nicely. In this scene, Megatron and Bumblebee are having a discussion. Megatron tells Bumblebee he'd make a good Decepticon, and like in the background, there's billowing smoke, there's sparks and everything. And like I was saying, like everything moves. The environments are really alive, and we haven't seen that in Transformers a lot. Like we got that in Prime. But
sort of.
No, we did get that in Prime. Like the animators took a while to find their feet in terms of like background design and stuff in Prime, but by and large, like we did see like a lot of environmental damage and stuff like that. But like this is just I'm impressed at the quality of the animation. I don't know about the plot, but yeah.
We sort of discussed this last week. I mean, more so just going from Prime to RID to this, how you've sort of again got this new shift in character designs. I love how each time the animation changes, but the character designs pretty much stay pretty on point to what we see before. Grimlock here is definitely an interesting one from the trailer.
Grimlock is very talkative.
Yeah,
and not only is he talkative, he sounds quite intelligent, doesn't he?
And that's fine. Like they're doing that. The mode, or the dinosaur mode, definitely is a lot different to what we know of a Grimlock. They're doing something new. It's one thing I still find funny, that they changed the animation up between these cartoon series, but the characters still have that tie to G1, where a 5-year-old or 6-year-old doesn't care what Transformers Prime, Prime, or Bumblebee look like, or the cartoons are restarting now and finding their new audience.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just
Yeah, I agree. I reckon it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think it's the first week or two in September that the
September
episode's coming out.
15th in the US. So it's going to be, we're going to have to pirate it over here. I don't know what's going to appear locally over here, but I think it seems like it's not so much focus in the here and now. It's more of, we're going to have Bumblebee and Windblade talking for 5 minutes, and the rest of the episode is going to be sort of in B's memory. And there's been a lot of footage here of Cybertron, the war for Cybertron, and all that, which I think is definitely interesting and definitely something I want to see.
Yeah. So yeah, look, I'm sure we're going to see a couple more trailers come out in the next couple of weeks. But look, for now, I'm not impressed with the toys. People had the toys at TFNation. I did not really appreciate them, but this looks cool. Like I can totally get behind the chunky angular design on the vents on the side of Grimlock's head, and I like a lot about these designs. I love the fact that they move so much, and yeah, good job, Boulder Studios. That is that for Cyberverse. Shall we move on? We'll talk very quickly about the new images of Studio Series the SS22 Dropkick, and which is one of the new molds from one of the Decepticons in the movie, and the KSI Sentry which is a remold of the Red Stinger done as a blue figure. There's not really that much to say about these guys. Like, it's not the first time we've seen what they look like, but it's just some new photos that sort of show them a little bit more bright light. You can see them on their Studio Series backdrops there. And yeah, I'm not personally going to pick up either of them, but I like that they are a thing that exists.
Yeah, like these were released at TFCon, but there was more important things to talk about, so we focused on those. But I don't mind the Stinger mold. It's something, if I can find that fairly cheap, I'll get the Sentry. Dropkick's an interesting one because it looks nothing like what we've seen from the movie. I don't know if this is just something that's dropped from The Last Night or one of the Bayverse films that they just made a figure for and called it Dropkick, because it hasn't got the car. It's not a triple changer for a start.
It's definitely not a triple changer.
No. So we'll see what happens in the movie. But it's a nice looking attack helicopter in alt mode, and in even robot mode. It's sort of got a bit of bulk there. It's not really spindly. So
yeah, I think they've done all right with the character design. Yeah. All right, let's move on. We also saw some images come out in the last couple of days of the new Studio Series number 15, which is, you guessed it, is another Bumblebee. This Bumblebee, however, is the old, like, 70s Camaro from the start. Actually, maybe it's not the start. Maybe it's the end of the Bumblebee movie. But in this particular set, you get a figure of Charlie, which is Haley Steinfeld's character from the Bumblebee movie. And you also get armor and upgrade parts to add on to Bumblebee, which is kind of like the trans scanning figures of yesteryear, and they'd sort of give you a skeleton for you to clip pieces onto. But you can see there's like a beefier engine, and there's a gun and some extra armor to add on to them. And so, like, it's quite a clever little gimmick, and it just sort of shows that they can make a Studio Series do whatever they want. So yeah,
it's a nice little set, whether it's released here or not. Again,
so there's a bit of a close up on some of the figures in there, and as you can see, he's already on sale from Target in the US. Thanks for the photo at the bottom of the box there. Yeah, and there's his coastal backdrop, some sticker sheets, and there you have him. He looks pretty much like every other Bumblebee at this point, but you can of course add more pieces of the car onto him. So yeah,
wow.
That's Studio Series 15 Bumblebee. The last couple of days as well, we have seen some news come out that Midtown Comics has listed Decepticons on the War for Cybertron Siege series. Now, Hasbro has not announced the Decepticons yet, but you can bet your ass that there will be Decepticons. So what we have seen is that we're getting an airstrike patrol who appear to be Decepticons, Target Master Blowpipe, Megatron himself, Flywheels, Skytread, and Shockwave will be coming into the Transformers Siege line, which is coming out end of this year / early next year.
Interesting that the Megatron's only a Voyager to match the Prime, and the leader's going to be Shockwave to match Ultra Magnus.
Yeah, interesting.
But
we don't have photographs of them yet, which is why they're using the G1 box art.
Yeah, I think one of my biggest things from TFCon was just those MicroMasters and seeing how much they're angling towards G1 there. So I can't wait to see what they're doing for the Decepticons as well.
Yeah, I reckon so. The Airstrike Patrol should be all Decepticons, I assume.
Yep.
Let's move on. Very quickly, we've got some new photographs of MMC's Lynx portion of Skylynx. There isn't, as you mentioned earlier, there's no Sky here. The shuttle portion of this figure is not available yet, but holy crap, this guy's very well articulated. He can move, he can angle everything around, and it's really impressive.
Yeah, something else from TFCon we didn't report on because there was too much other news, but we're all blown away when Hasbro announced the combinable Skylynx and just Skylynx is coming back into the fray, and I'm surprised it's been 2 years since a third-party company's decided to do it themselves. This thing looks fantastic.
It is notable that MMC is selling this as 2 parts, so you can purchase the Lynx portion shortly, but then they'll do the Sky portion soon. They haven't quite announced his release date yet, but I think they're looking at about 100 to 120 for these guys.
Personally, I'm more interested in the Sky version, but
fair enough.
You need both.
Absolutely, you do. What else have we got? I put this one in because I saw this during the week. So Mass Toys, who for the last year have been sort of trading off repaints of their Cybertron Bumblebee figure Skiff, have announced their second product. Maybe not. I think they've announced another Transformer, but this is an accessory, the MA001 Tyrant Throne. Now, it's a throne on which you can place your masterpiece MP36 Megatron. And doesn't he look amazing?
On the throne.
On the throne. Everyone looks amazing on the throne. So yeah, not sure of the release date for this guy yet, but he is coming soon. And
I love the Philips or the Sony cassette deck in each side of the armrest there. The detail, you got the cassette deck and the car stereo.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah, they do look like just sort of the general robotic equipment panel that we had on a lot of things in the cartoon.
Yeah.
So these guys, we got to look at the Toy World Legend Scale G1 Wheeljack prototype, which he looks pretty good. Toy World has a good reputation for their Legend Scale figures, as do a lot of companies these days. And of course, they're also ready to do him as exhaust.
Yeah, well, you got the mold. Instead of doing a repaint later down the line, just bring them all out at the same time.
Absolutely. And not only that, they've also done a Transformers Prime version of him as well, with his sort of facial hair, beard, and mustache.
I mistook that.
They've not given us the vehicle mode.
No. I mistook it for a prototype for a masterpiece. I thought someone was doing a KO, but no, we are a legend scale, which is fantastic to see a wheeljack in that line.
Yeah. I don't think we have seen a legend scale wheeljack before.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty neat. Planet X has been dazzling us with some really detailed bots recently, and this one is no different. This is PXCO2 Cadmos, who is the IDW style Star Saber. Now, I think these guys make their figures fairly large, and so he's got quite a lot of detail on him, and he should do well in your collections. It's
interesting they're moving slightly away from the Fall of Cybertron, War of Cybertron design. Does this feel a lot like that Drift that's just coming out?
I know.
So that very Japanese robot. I don't know what fiction. Oh, it's IDW, obviously. So starting to go into some of the comic stuff.
Yeah, which I don't think we've seen from Planet X before.
No.
And that's probably actually why. Well, there must be something else because we've got. So their Death Saurus is actually probably an IDW.
Oh, okay.
An IDW version of Death Saurus as well. But so Cadmos is Star Saber and Ismenios is Death Saurus.
Yeah. And it's as if they're looking into some of that comic stuff no one else has touched, then I'm sure this will be a successful sale for them.
I think so. Planet X is one of those companies that seems to have just sort of been there constantly in the background for a lot of the time that we've been doing the show, a lot of the time that we've been covering third-party figures, is that Planet X has been out there, and they may not necessarily get the mainstream mind share that Fans Toys and the like get, but holy crap, they've definitely got their devotees.
Well, they're not just doing G1 Prime B Megatron or G1 bots, like they're doing that more obscure stuff that people want figures from.
That's true.
Yeah,
quite true.
The masterpiece will never hit. So,
well, we already have a masterpiece Star Saber.
Yeah, but what's that? That's straight off the cartoon, isn't it?
Totally. Totally. It's more like Transformers Victory. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has probably got more fiction, more backstory to it.
Well, he's a comic character anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that, and we're going to cover one more piece of news before we perhaps call it a night because it is getting late. Sadly, John Ryan cannot be with us this week to discuss the Unicron of Light. But here are some new photographs of it, just in case you've been missing your Unicron fix. I totally had no idea that Unicron's legs could do that.
Wow.
I did not know that whatsoever, but so I'm very tempted to go and find this guy and put him on pre-order now. Just the translucent green, everything comes together quite nice on him. So,
you will not like him when he's angry.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
All right, that is it for the news. I think I've spent long enough talking about my TFNation haul. Do you have any new acquisitions that you want to talk about?
No, not tonight. It's been a quiet week, purchasing wise.
Yeah, cool. It's been a busy week for me purchasing wise overseas, but now I need to sort of just keep my head down for a while and stop spending money because my credit card hates me this week. But I will totally do it all over again. I had an absolute blast. I think that's it. That's about it for the podcast. We've been going for about an hour and a bit. I think that's good enough. We are recording quite late on a Friday night, and a short show's a good show, right?
That's it, exactly. So another week done.
All right. There's some brief TCCA business. We've had a good response to membership renewal and sign up this year, I think, and so we've had such a good response that we've had to print out some new cards. So we're getting more cards printed up, and they will be sent out to you as soon as we can. And the club's 5th birthday is hitting in September. What do you get someone for their 5th anniversary? What is it? Is it linen?
Oh, nice pillow, nice quilted pillow or something, I suppose.
Nice pillowcase. We could do it with a pillowcase. Thank you, everyone. So state reps are going to be organising some events locally, and we'll see how we go. Sometime in September there will be some birthday bashes. Go on.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to do the spiel. Do you have anything to do before we leave?
No, man. Spiel away.
All right, I'm going to spiel away. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you are watching along with the live record, thanks for checking us out, and thank you for making it all the way through the recording session and the podcast. Find out more about these stories. You'll find the links to them all in the show notes. They are posted to the Transformers Weekly Facebook page, and of course, you'll find them on our Podbean site as well. That is transformersweekly.podbean.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us, find us on that website, find us on the Facebook page, Australian Transformers Weekly, and of course, you can find us in the Transformers Collectors Club Australia discussion group on Facebook. If you're not already subscribed, you can find the podcast on iTunes, Pocket Casts, YouTube, and other podcatchers of choice and distinction. Australian Transformers Weekly is a production of Transformers Collectors Club Australia. TCZ is a registered fan club in Victoria, and I believe it's registered as a non-profit. Is that right, Brad?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
That's good because we don't make any money. It is run by volunteers who donate their time and money, because we're not making any, to make the club better for everyone. That includes us sitting here on a Friday night talking about the latest Transformers news for you, the listener. Our goal is to connect Transformers fans around the country. We do it by engaging the collecting community with podcasts. We attend conventions, and we could definitely do with your donation. Membership starts at just $5, and you can find out more at transformerscca.com. That is all from us. It's been a few weeks. It's nice to be back in the saddle, and we'll be back with more Transformers news next week. Thanks for listening, and bye-bye now.
No worries. Good night.